Given the setup from the previous episodes, MobLand Season 1, Episode 10 will undoubtedly have a lot of stories remaining to explore. Although Nicola/Alice's efforts with Richie and Colin Tattersall resulted in Maeve and Conrad's arrest in Episode 9, their scheme to fabricate evidence has not yet been fulfilled. The mole's identity needs to be further explored in the series in order to conclusively prove that it is O'Hara. MobLand's finale will also need to examine Maeve's mentality and the reasons for her seeming determination to ruin Conrad, as she now comes across as somewhat suspicious. Beyond the major cliffhanger regarding the fates of Maeve and Conrad, MobLand will also need to complete the stories of other Harrigan family members, such as Kevin and Bella, and the series will need to address Harry and his family's role in all of the events that have transpired this season, since Jan and Gina's lives are always in jeopardy. This means that, in addition to completing the Harrigans' plans, the series will also need to devote some time to the more emotional storylines of the characters. Overall, it appears doubtful that MobLand will be able to satisfactorily wrap up all of its stories because it has so much left to do in its last episode. Although MobLand Season 2 has not yet been confirmed, this is probably due in part to the desire of those involved for the series to continue. MobLand might choose an action-packed finale that concentrates on permanently ending the Harrigans' conflict with the Stevensons because other plot aspects, such as Kevin's enduring anguish or Harry's relationship with his family, may not have a clear-cut conclusion. Harry's profession has caused Jan and Gina to endure unimaginable levels of stress for no fault of their own, and it appears that the armed police raid in episode May 9 be the tipping point for January. Gina is now directly in danger due to the war with the Stevensons, and Harry's role in it, even though Harry's job has always been risky and has always seemed to come before their marriage. The only safe haven is the house of a vicious crime boss who has already acted inappropriately toward Gina. The absence of Conrad and Maeve and the impending commotion make it seem like the ideal time for Jan and Gina to try a real escape. The problem is that, because of their connections to Harry and the Harrigans, both are still very much on Richie Stevenson's list of targets, so even if they leave the Cotswolds, they will still be in grave danger. It appears that Jan will at least try to escape, or at the very least inform Harry about her plans, regardless of whether they are successful or not. There is no way the season finale can go without addressing the nature of the two favors Harry has given Kat McAllister, who is now enigmatic and obviously deadly. Although not much is known about Kat, it is almost a given that she will try to use Harry's abilities as a tactician or a shooter for her own evil ends. Conrad and Kevin appeared concerned that Harry could owe Kat anything, so it would be fascinating to see how they react back to the Harrigans. If Kat asks Harry to do something that directly contradicts his allegiance to the Harrigans, it would significantly complicate things for him in MobLand. Kat might, for instance, call on him to betray the Harrigans in order to remove them from the ship if, as some speculate, she is a high-level CIA or MI6 agent. Conrad and Kevin's familiarity with her indicates to her being more criminal than law enforcement, therefore it's likely she may persuade Harry to kill one or all of the Harrigans to further her own ambitions. Together with Jamie and Kat's involvement, Episode 7 shifts the main storyline action to Antwerp, Belgium, which makes it abundantly evident how completely outgunned Conrad, 100 guns, Harrigan is in any gang conflict. Even after suffering unimaginable losses, Richie remains composed and is able to ask higher authorities for help when he needs it. Meanwhile, without Tom Hardy's Harry de Souza, as demonstrated by his frantic appeal to Kat McAllister, the, rightfully, paranoid and insane pair of Conrad and Maeve Harrigan would be utterly, hilariously lost. Kat's debut serves as a crucial reminder of how limited MobLand's plot has been thus far. Even though there is a sense of high-powered action, deaths, and explosions, Kat's ability to dismantle the cartel with a phone call highlights how pointless the Harrigan/Stevenson arguments are in the context of global organized crime. It would appear that both Irish criminal families might be swayed by groups that are substantially more powerful than they are. Following their arrest, Conrad and Maeve were on their way to some kind of lockup. They cheerfully sang their way into the police cars while wearing handcuffs, probably thinking that O'Hara would swiftly free them. They are unaware that Tattersall now has the power to keep them imprisoned and still allow Richie to enter through the back door. In the season finale, Richie should confront Conrad and Maeve after all the murder and vitriol. Unless Helen Mirren and/or Pierce Brosnan have other obligations, it doesn't seem likely that they will be slain in the first season. That suggests that someone is protecting them from Richie's fury, most likely Harry and Kevin. It wouldn't be shocking to see Conrad, Maeve, and Richie all survive in some way to resent one another in the future because, if the confrontation does happen, it might signal the end of the Harrigan/Stevenson conflict before it has even begun.